coming very much today. Today we are going to be understanding Mormon culture, which I don't know if you understand anything about it. I didn't. If anybody has seen Sister Wives, raise your hand. I'm guessing the wife, right? Gotta be.
That's my favorite show.
Oh, that's so sweet. Anyway, when I first thought Mormon, that's the first thing that came to mind, was a man who was married to 3 women and courting a 4th to become his wife, has 19 children, all from these different women. So it's completely not what the Mormon culture is actually about. Those are what's known as fundamentalist Mormons, which we will get into a little more in just a bit. First of all, we are going to understand their beliefs and practices, which the LDS started, which of course LDS is Latter-day Saints. They started in 1830 by Joseph Smith. They actually started with polygamy, which is what most people, of course, know them for. The current LDS Church does not sanction plural marriage. So these Mormons are nothing like that. They are actually people who believe just as we do. They worship God, they go to work, they go to church, they live life to serve others, and they believe in a monogamous marriage. One man, one woman, and that's it. So, on that, they're known for their strict behavioral code, which is their dressing standards, grooming standards. They're only allowed to wear pressed shirts, pressed dresses, have to have their hair completely done. Of course, there are some that are not near as strict. They do have much more loose rules to where it's not near as rigid anymore. That usually only applies to the older generation. And of course, they are all known for abstaining from alcohol, tobacco, any hot drinks such as coffee or tea, no drugs, no premarital sex. That is what they live by. That is one of their biggest beliefs. As in their ordinances, which is their faith in Jesus Christ, their religiosity, repentance, and baptism. And this relates directly to their lifestyle, which is, of course, their cohesive lifestyle. They, of course, believe in daily prayer, morality, health, their dedication and worship, which of course includes mission work. They are required, anybody of college age, to do 2 years worth of mission work unpaid. That is showing their devotion to their faith. As for their characteristics, again, that comes in with the no alcohol, tobacco, or drugs. That is something they preach and live by. As for their social perspectives, marriage is more than a social convention for them. It's believed that it is God's law for them to live by, and it's exalting each other, basically raising them up higher. Why, I'm not entirely sure. They're not exactly clear on it, but. And as you see, they live a lot like we do, but they didn't used to. Now, whereas they started out in the 1890s, they believed by their covenant that it was sanctioned by God to have more than one wife. It's very strange. And they didn't want to live that way, but LDS, the Latter-day Saints, ended up discontinuing polygamy in the 1895, I think is when it was. They discontinued it then, but of course that's where the fundamentalists came in. They believed that it was sanctioned by God and that it was not discontinued, and they would go on and practice it as they saw fit. Now, any regular Latter-day Saint will still continue to believe and preach in monogamy. Just their wife, their husband, that's it. And that's basically all I have today. Now that we've learned to understand the Mormons' beliefs, lifestyles, and the polygamous controversy, that they're not exactly like the sister wives. So you may not even know. Your neighbor could be a Mormon, see anybody you know, ask them these questions. Maybe you'll find something new. And thank you guys very much.
Very good.